Hi folks, I was doing the handbrake cables on my Mondeo ST220 Mark III last week, and I noticed that one of the shock absorbers was actually leaking, and seeing as this car's got to go for an MOT in about 4 weeks time, I thought it prudent to actually do that work as well. So I bought myself a pair of new shocks there. I bought myself a pair of new gaiters, because the gaiters on the one over that side, which is the one that's damaged, is perished. So I bought a pair of them. And I've also bought a new drop link for the anti-sway bar. So that's got to go on today. And also, while I had the car up in the air, I put a new disc on this side as well, and I had the brake pads off as well. So let's have a look, see how far I've got, and let's see what I've got to do now. I'll see you in a minute. Right, well, as you can see, I've had the new disc put on there as well, and there's also a brand new handbrake cable which has gone on there. I did a video on that, so if you look at my playlist you'll find that out. And although this shock is okay, the one on the other side is the one that's actually leaking, so we're going to be changing both of them as a matter of course. And what we need to do basically is to take off all what I've put on already, which is the caliper. We can take the disc off as well. That only sits on behind the caliper once I undone the caliper retaining bolts. We've got some arms to undo down here. So we've got one bolt to undo there. Coming around this side as well, we've also got one bolt to undo there. So we've got this one round the back here as well. I think that one's an 18mm. Let me just put a spanner on it to find out. Yeah, there's an 18mm spanner, folks. We've got to undo the drop link bolt. Well, we're going to have to undo both of them, that one there, and also the one down there, because I've got two new drop links to go on, one either side. And right up the top there, I don't know whether you can actually see or not. Let's see if we can get up there. You may just be able to see up there. We've got one 10mm that side, and there's also another one over this side, if I can get the light in there and show you. So that's it. The whole shock should hopefully then drop out. And because I'm going to be retaining these springs, these are not standard springs on there. These are performance springs, and they've also been lowered as well. So I'll be taking them off and putting them on the new shock absorber as well. The other thing that's got to come off under here as well, which I don't think you can really see from here, is the ABS sensor down there as well. That just plugs in down there as well. I'll have to get that off as well. So that's the only other thing. We've then got to undo this pinch bolt here. Now these are notorious for being stuck, but I'll use that once I've got the whole hub off and everything. I'll go into the workshop, take this into the workshop, may have to heat it up and loosen that bolt off to take this straight out, because we need to actually retain this and put this on the new shock absorber, this hub, and they locate by a gap at the back there, and there's a pin which it sits in, which you can't see from here, but we'll show you that a bit later on. So I'm going to start undoing nuts and bolts now, and we'll put you on a bit of time lapse for that, because I've actually got detailed videos on this on my other cars. So I'll see you in a minute, folks. I'm not too well at the moment. I've got a bit of a chest infection and a virus thing that's going about. I'm the third day into it at the moment, but I had to get out there and start this up. Thanks very much. I'll see you in a minute. Right, that's got the brake carrier out of the way. Let me just whip these hub nuts off. And although this is a brand new disc, put on about 4 or 5 days ago, because it's been left out to the elements, you can see already that the surface rust is already starting to take onto it, so that happens. Right, okay, so if you would have seen my last video, I always check the wheel bearings whenever you take something like this off as well, just to make sure that the wheel bearings are okay. We don't need to remove that yet, so we're happy with that at the moment. So we've got these two bolts here to undo. I think these are 15mm. Right, so let's see if we can undo these 15mm. These are going to be very tight, by the way. Oh, there we go, there we go. Once we've cracked it, I'll just give my impact wrench a bit of a happy birthday. Let's get on there. There we go. Same to the other side, so just give that one a crack off as well. Oh, that's tight, that one. I have to get the breaker bar on that one. So sometimes you do come across a tight socket. There we go. I've just undone that a little bit. Really tight that was. There we go. And just finish off with the old impact gun if we can get it in there. There we go. Oh, I needed a shorter one there, didn't I? There we go. So I've just finished that one off by hand because I can't get the gun in there. It wedges itself in there. There we go. Just undone that one there. I'll leave the bolts in there for the moment. Don't need to take them out. All right, we've got the drop link bolt, which is 15mm. Let's try it with the impact gun first of all. Okay, so I've got my Allen key there, and also my 15mm ring ratchet spanner. And this is what you have to do when they get like this. You have to hold back with that centre part, as you can see, when they spin, and then you can undo the rest of it. And there we go. Get that off. That's our drop link bolt undone. What we need to do now is to undo that 18mm at the back there, down the bottom there as I showed you. So let's do that now and pull the ABS sensor off. Oh, right, okay. So we need that ABS sensor off there, folks. And again, you don't want to break this, folks, because they can be a blinking nightmare. Let's get a screwdriver. Looks like we stick a screwdriver in there by the looks of it. And we pull back on that. There we go. Yeah, so I've just put a screwdriver in there, look. There. And then pulled back, and that's come off nice and easy. So that's that part off. So we've got our 18mm there. I've got a little 18mm there. It's only a 3/8 drive, this one. Could have done with being a bit bigger. Oh, it's tight. Oh, that is tight. Let's try with the extension bar on. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-sided socket. Don't want this to slip. Okay, that's on there like that. Wow, did that break, or was it the bar that broke? That's tight, isn't it? Oh, I think we've cracked it though. Very dry threads. Tighten it, very tight. That's the thing, you see, if you've got the car up in the air, it's a lot better. I really wanted a 1/2" socket on this, but I haven't got an 1/2" 18mm. I'll have to invest in one. Alright, let's try the elbow. I can't try the impact gun because I haven't got an 18mm 1/2" socket, so I've got to persevere with the 3/8 drive. Well, I'm not going to do that fully yet. I'm just going to leave that a few threads on it because I want to undo them 2 10mm at the top. Otherwise, this will just drop down when I undo the 2 10mm. Okay, here we go. There we go. There's the first one undone. Let's get that out. Lucky enough, that wasn't that tight. There we go. See how crusty that one is, look. So make sure you give them a good clean up before you put them back in, or source some new ones. Undo that. Now, as I say, if I didn't leave that bottom bolt in, the whole lot would drop down. So that's why I've left that bottom bolt in, so I'm under more control. There we go, that's the other one. Same again. Span it out, just to finish undoing the last couple of turns on that bolt. Like I've just done there. Put it forward. Just got that drop link holding it in there, look. There we go. There we go. Push that last bit through. There we go. There we go. And that's it. So there we go, folks. That's the complete unit out. So I can take that into the workshop now. Compress the spring, take the top bit off, undo that top bolt, compress the spring, get this spring off. This is the only bit I need, and also the bottom yoke there, which we're going to need to undo so that we can replace that onto the new shock. So let's go to the workshop now, take this apart and get it all ready to go back in again. Oh, so here you go, folks. As you can see, I've been given the wrong parts again. Don't forget, when you give them your registration number, they come and check out their database, and they give you the part according to your registration number. So there was no way I could really find that out. My centres are, I think they're about 220 to centres, and this one is in the region of 255 centimetres. So there you go, folks. I've just phoned them up. They just said, oh, okay, we can get the other ones in for you by 3 o'clock today. So I've now got to drive a 40-mile round trip again just to get these parts changed. I feel like crap, but I've got to do it. Anyway, I'll see you when I get back. Right, folks, here we are in the workshop. I haven't gone down there yet. I'm going to give it a little bit longer. So I've just attached my... I use these ones, the Clark coil spring compressor set. I've never had any problems at all with these. You get a lot of people say, oh, they don't like them, but they do work. They've worked a treat. So I'm using them. I've only put 2 on, although there's 3 in this set. The reason being is because these springs are actually shorter than the average springs. So I'm hoping they won't take as much compression. So let's show you. So as you can see, these are Vogtland. I think they're German springs. Oh, they are made in Germany, look. So these are the lower springs, and you can see the tighter coils are towards the top of the shock there. So I will make a note of that as well. So I've just positioned them 2 locks on there like that. And I'm going to use my Clark impact gun. This is the 1/2-inch one I've got here. I want to get the 5 amp battery for this, because 2 amp battery is okay for when I'm doing my lawnmower stuff, but when I'm on my cars, it's left wanting a bit. So and also that nut there, I've give that a good squirt of penetrating oil. I may have to heat that up yet. I don't know yet. I haven't tried to crack that yet, so we'll just leave that for the moment. So let's just buzz this and compress this spring, and then we can undo this top nut here. And the way you have to do that is to hold back on the centre, because the nut will just rotate with the big shaft, the chrome shaft in the middle there. And to do that, I've got this work through socket set. Again, this is Sealy. I do like their range of stuff as well. And all we'll do with that is slide that over the top there. That goes on there like that. You then put your Allen key through the hole. That's the idea of these things. You get your work through wrench, and then you can just undo, put that on the reverse, put that on there like that to hold that back, and literally hold that while you undo that at the same time, and that stops the centre spin shaft from spinning. Right, so put that there, and all I literally need to do is to just zip this up, get it going the right way. And I'm also going to put my safety goggles on as well, folks, because you never know when one of these could ping out. Right, and we just literally, it's so simple, bit at a time. And again, you haven't got to go too mad with this, because as soon as I see that there's no pressure on that top unit, then I'm okay. There we go. So we can see there now that the spring has got no tension at all on that top plate, and we need to undo that top plate. So I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll clamp that fork leg, look at me, that shock absorber leg in the vise, so it gives me better purchase. So let's just undo that. Right, okay, so now we've got that clamped into the vise, let's get this in there and undo this. There we go. That's it. Now we should be able to undo that now. The top nut should come off. There we go. That should come off. Remembering that that side is the front. That faces the hub, looking outwards. That looks to be in good order, so we shouldn't have to do anything with that. We can now slide our spring off, which is totally compressed. Now we've got the bump stop there, which will come off like that. Now, as I say, this gauge is probably all right, but I have got the new set, so I will be putting the new ones on, so it doesn't feel much to that, actually. I think all the damping's really gone out of that one as well, so as you can see, look, there's not much in that at all, look. All we've got to concern ourselves with now is getting this nut undone. Now that, as I think, is a 15mm. Right, so that's the 15mm. I'll try the zip gun on it first of all, but again, I know these are going to be very tight, so I don't hold out too much hope for this, to be honest with you. Wow, that's a surprise. It's actually done it. Look at that. Well, that was one heck of a tight bolt. Look at the rust on that, look. I will give that a good wire wheel clean up, because we're going to need to use that again. So there you go. Well, I didn't think that would do it. That little 2.5 amp or 2 amp hour Clark impact driver. That's a 1/2 inch one. As I say, apparently when you put a 5 amp hour battery in these really do go. So worth getting a 5 amp hour battery for that. So there you go. Got that out. So that hub is the next thing. We've got to try and get this off of there. So I will give it a good douse again with penetrating fluid, as I've done already. And then we'll try and drift that off. I might have to just relocate it in the vise a bit better, tip it up. Just give it a few shocks. And it's coming off. Nearly there. There we go. Should wiggle off now. There we go. That's it, folks. Get that old one out. Now, I'll just give this a little bit of a clean up, folks. Now, under normal circumstances, I would have taken this apart and probably powder coated it and cleaned it up. So I'll have to do that another time. But I'll just give it a wire brush down and get it prepared, put back together. And you haven't really got to see that, folks. As I say, I'm not feeling all that well at the moment. Time now is 1:30. I've got a little bit of time on my hands, and I've got to go and drive, say, 40-mile round trip just to change them drop links. So anyway, I'll get this cleaned up, put back together, just a reversal of what I've done there, and I'll see you in a minute. Right, there you go, folks. The shock is now complete. All I've got to wait for now is for me to go and pick the drop link up. So I did give this just a little bit of a coat of paint just to tidy it up a little bit. So we've got the new bump cap and also the new gator installed there, as you can see. These are those springs off of the old one, as you know. The fork legs line up and they go through a little lug there. I had a little bit of problem spreading that open so it slides over nicely, but we got there in the end. All I've done was put a big chisel in there. One of them just to open it up a little bit, and then I pushed it on, as you probably saw in the time lapse. So yeah, that's it. All ready to be rebuilt, and that won't be today though, because the time I come back from the shop, which is about a 40-mile round trip, the time now is 2:30. It'll be dark, so I'll have to finish this off and carry this job on tomorrow morning. So I'll see you when it gets light tomorrow. I'll see you then. Well, folks, this is now 6 days later, believe it or not, and I've still got the old drop links. What happened was, is that when I went down to the shop, after I told them that I needed the 220 or 223mm ones, the shorter ones, they said, yeah, they had them in stock. When I went down there, he presented me with the box, and he said, look, the box is shorter than the one I took back. But I thought, no, I'm just going to open it there, because I took this along with me as well. So I opened the box up to the new one, and sure enough, it was the same length as the old one. When I say the old one, I mean the other new one they'd sent me. So they didn't actually check when they told me that they'd done the check. So as a result of that, I made it very clear that I wasn't very happy, because so far it's cost me an 80-mile round trip over 2 visits, when they said that they had the right part in. And all he could do was apologise. And funny thing is that the chap who was in front of me, this isn't the first time I've had a problem with this supplier. This supplier was GSF in Lincoln, by the way. And the chap who was in the queue in front of me, he had a box of looked like a little sensor or whatever. Anyway, and he got served before me, and he basically said to them behind the counter when I was listening to him, he said, I bought this off you the other day, he said, and when I got home, I opened the box up, and it was a second-hand one. It's basically been used. And he did try and put it on the car, but he said the car ran terrible. And all the bloke said behind the counter was, he opened it up and said, oh yeah, okay, I'm very sorry about that, he said. And I brought out another box and opened that box up, and it was a new one in there, and the bloke was happy, he walked off. So I haven't been to this shop for, well, I'd have to look at my videos, because I think it was a suspension I'd done on one of my other cars. Might have been the Signum, actually. It might have been last year sometime. And the last time I was there, I ordered 2, like, a shock absorber or whatever. And when I got it back, took it out of the box, it was a second-hand unit. The whole shock was a whole second-hand unit. And I had to do the same again and go back and get that replaced as well. So it seems that these people don't seem to check stuff. If they've got a return box, they just put it back in stock. And as a result of that, the ones that I'd already opened, the brand new one, which I've shown you the other day, I don't think he even checked that. I think he probably just put that straight back into stock. So you have to be very careful, folks. And don't forget, when you're phoning these people up, and these are so-called experts at the end of the day, but they're not experts. They're just computer readers. That's why they read the information in front of them. And do double check your parts, and if you can, take the old part down with you, like I've had to do. Anyway, cut a long story short, he couldn't help me. He said, we can't find it. He said, we haven't got one in stock. And I said, well, you've really caused an inconvenience to me. I said, it could have been a customer's car, and I could have been waiting on to get the car back to the customer. So he phoned up another company in Lincoln. He explained to them the situation. The one was longer and one was shorter. They said, yes, okay, we've obviously got one in stock, and we're holding for him. He told him to hold them. So I've drove like a mile and a half to go out to this other shop. They was waiting for me, and the chap behind the counter said, well, do you want the cheaper one or the dearer one? I said, I just want one that fits, mate. So he brought both to the counter. One was in a long box, one was in a short box. He said, there you go. And again, I opened it up then, and what was inside? The long one again. So they didn't even check that it was the correct measurement. We knew the exact measurement, 223 millimetres between centres. And all he could say was, it looks like that on the different companies that they look down for parts or whatever, they've categorised the ST220, which is obviously the shorter one by all accounts, and just lumped it up with the standard Mondeo rear drop link. I don't know whether that's true or not, but anyway, he couldn't help me, so I've had to walk out. He said, I've done a check, he said, and we found 2. One's up in Northampton, I think he said, or down in Northampton, wherever it was. And he said another one is with Ford, and I paid £24 for a pair, or in that shop for these. Ford want £30 each for them, and they didn't have them in stock. There was only one in Nuneaton or Northampton somewhere. So I've ended up coming out without the drop link, basically, that day. And to be honest with you, there's actually nothing wrong with these drop links, because I was actually just taking them off, I thought I'd just change them anyway. So it looks like, I'm hoping that the one on the other side's going to be okay. So all I'm going to do with this is give it a little clean in the Sandblaster, give it a coat of paint, and then put this one back on. And what a mess about job that was. So I didn't get anywhere. And then on that day, later on that evening, I started to develop a bit chesty and a cold or whatever. I thought it was a cold or whatever. Cut a long story short, I've been ill for the last 6 days. I've had the headache, the sore throat, the chest infection, all that sort of stuff. I haven't got the old COVID, whatever it is, because I've done a check on that anyway. But Jimmy had it first. Then little baby Frank, the little baby's had it as well. His girlfriend's had it. I've had it. And the only one who seemed to avoid it was Sharon. And last night in bed, she's now started to get it as well. So Sharon's not well as well. So again, it just goes through you like anything. And I know quite a few people have had it as well. So anyway, so I'm still not fully right now, but I need this car back on the road. It's been off the road for six days now. So I'm just going to quickly sandblast this. We'll put this one back in, and then I've got to do all the same to the other side. You won't need to see that, so I'll see you in a minute, and we'll see what this looks like after I've finished. Right, okay, then now that looks a little bit decent. I'm going to let that dry off. I'm going to fit the shock and then we can put this on afterwards. So I'll see you outside. Right, folks, back out the front. Let's try and get this in place. I ain't got my full strength today, I must say. So I might struggle a little bit with this. Right, okay, got it up there. What you have to do is compress the spring a little bit till you get that bit sitting on top of the subframe there, so then it can sort of sit there hanging there free. Failing that, you'd have to get a trolley jack in and do that. So what I've got to do now is to look up here, line this top strut up in there and get them 2 bolts in. So I'm going to have to do that off camera because I'm going to be looking up here and you're not going to be able to see that, and I can't stick my head in there at the same time and line that up when the camera's right there. So I'm going to do that now and I'll see you in a minute. Right, they're both in now, just nipping them up. It wasn't too bad actually. I've got 3 extensions here on the 3/8 drive, and these again haven't got to be done way tight. Just nip them up. Right, that's it. So right, they're both done up. We've got that back bolt to put on, and we've got these 2 here either side to put back on, and also the brake caliper's got to be swung back in. So let's start getting them in. So I can put my sensor cable back on for me ABS. Otherwise we'll have all sorts of problems. Yep, that's back in. So that can go in there like that. This was the 18mm one, remember? So let's just start to nip that one up. Right, okay, I'll tighten that up in a minute. It's located first of all, so that's the main thing. So that's our rear sensor back on. So we'll get these side bolts in now. They've got a leading edge on them, so they should pick up all right. There we go. And these are a 15mm. We'll whip them in. Again, not tightening that right up yet. We'll get that through there. So if we get that on there first, push that in and start to do up. There we go. Just a little bit of technique needed. Right, just nip them up, as I said. And I'm going to come back and tighten them up in a second. And get that off of there. Right, so we've got our disc there, as you can see. That needs to go back on. Like that. And because I took this all off in one piece, the caliper, that's now got to slide back over the disc. And then just bolt on the caliper bolts at the back. And I've actually got 2 new screws to go in there, as you can see. So one of them was rounded off, so I actually bought some new screws for the caliper. Right, folks, we're all torqued up, so that's okay now. So I've got that drop link here now. Now it looks a lot tidier now, as you can see. It's been painted. Not a new one, but there's nothing wrong with it, so it can go back on. Right, so that just goes in there like that, and just get both nuts on. I should have painted the blinking nuts as well, shouldn't I? Still, never mind. So I'll just sit that on with my my windy gun. Hopefully that will spin right on. No, spin at the back. I knew that had happened. Right, so that started spinning, so lucky enough I've got a 15mm ring spanner there. My ratchet spanner, which I can use just to hold back with. And my 5mm Allen key there, as I say, just to hold back with while it just nips up, and then I can put the impact gun on it, you see. See, now it's taken. Now I can just put the impact gun on there and just zip it up. There we go. Get rid of all that blinking dust. And there you go, just do the same to the bottom one and Bob's your uncle. Right, so there you go folks, that's the job done. The new shock absorber is in. Let's get that light out of the way there. As you can see, we're done up at the top there. No problem there. We've got their new bump cap and gaiter on as well. Our drop link is now connected and tightened up. Our two 15mm bolts either side there, and the same the other side are done up. And our 18mm bolt at the back has been done up as well. Our calipers back on. We've got a brand new disc, although it looks a little bit surface rusty at the moment, but that's actually a brand new disc. We've got a new handbrake cable which has gone on in the last video, and that's it, job done. So there you go folks, just done that job now. I've got to do exactly the same now to the other side, and I'm just hoping that the drop link on the other side is good. If not, I've got all that rigmarole of trying to get a source another drop link. My only gripe is that I wish suppliers would check when you phone them up to order a part, for example, and it's obviously a long way away, it's 20 miles away. I wish they'd actually do the checks to find out, one, that the item is the correct one they've got in stock, and two...
Not being used.
Hey?
Not the replacement.
And it's not been used, that's right, and it is an actual proper part. As I say, that's the second time I've had that with that GSF Car Parts in Lincoln. Come here, baby.
And somebody else had it, didn't they, when you was in there?
I was just saying to her, in front of me, the same another person in front of me had exactly the same issue with them being given a second-hand part in a box. Don't they check it? Just because it says computer says yes on the computer screen, they take it for granted that it's done. So someone's not doing their job properly, and it's cost me an 80-mile round trip. But anyway,
why would you say that? If you just send it back to a shop like clothes shop, they check it.
Of course they do.
But
anyway,
I don't know.
I know.
Don't forget, like and subscribe. It's all free. Subscribe is free.
This is a Butleth Empire video. This is a retro restore video.
It doesn't matter. They still got to like and subscribe.
I've got to do all this now to the other side.
He's a good egg, isn't he?
And I'm not very well at the moment.
Tell me about it.
And you ain't. You just got it now, baby, ain't you? Anyway, thanks very much, folks.
It's caring, baby.
Share mine the mic, darling.
Oh yeah, sharing's caring.
Sharing is what?
Caring.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks very much, folks. I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully, I'll have this on the deck. I've got a few other jobs to do. I'm dropped behind in my videos at the moment, so keep tuned. This will be back on the road very, very shortly, and then I can carry on. I've got other jobs to do as well. I've got a few more car jobs to do as well. Thanks very much, folks. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, bye for now.